The name's Bond. James Bond.
No. I am your
fathers, brothers, nephews.
Why so serious?
Cousin's former roommate.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am.
Matt the Matt here on a nice sunny afternoon, morning. Yeah, I don't know what time it is. You know what? Been an interesting week. So, we're just going to get right into our movie news for this past week that came out. And we're going to start off with my co-host here, Zach. And Zach, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Alright, our first topic today is, we talked before about The Last of Us. HBO is gearing up to shoot that soon. So they added another cast member to the cast. Gabriel Luna is going to be playing the role of Tommy in The Last of Us TV series on HBO. Zach, what can you tell? And I am not educated on The Last of Us. I know you are. Who's Tommy? Is this a good choice? Go.
Yeah, Tommy was a character in the prologue of the show, so not really that much else into it. Spoiler alert, he ain't gonna last long if they go specifically by the game of stuff. So I think, it's a good cast because, he's supposed to be the brother to Joel. So if you have both of them as brothers, they look alike. So that's good,
they had Pedro Pascal is playing the main role of Joel. So I guess, it was kind of inevitable if their brothers, probably pick the same, background, Latino,
And it works. Even some of their facial features are actually pretty, close. So instead of getting, actual brothers, if you're, getting two different people. So, it all kind of depends on what I think the cast of what they're kind of going for. Or, the script that they're going for all this stuff, I should say. Is, if they're going to take the game, which, and my wholeheartedly says that they should, maybe just stretch it out a little bit so that way you can, change some stuff here and there to get it the way that you want it to be for, the plot beats of your however long the series is going to be and the like. But the one thing that I think falls flat whenever people do it is when they try to change. Video game movies have not done well overall. The Lara Croft ones, both the Angelina Jolie and the recent ones have been okay, but realistically, the best video game movie is going to be what's probably about to come out with Mortal Kombat. And before that, it would be the old Mortal Kombat. Not Annihilation, but the original Mortal Kombat movie.
Original.
There are not that many video game movies that have been done well. And now, reason why they did that is you can look at that in the microcosm of the Super Mario movie, where they made the movie just about random stuff, just using the characters' names. And people went to see it and just going this is not the game. So it's the reason that you're making this is because you're using a property that's viable and good and has a good story. So use it. It makes no sense to change it overly dramatically so much.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't played the game, the game. I meant they're gonna expand his role. You don't get a guy like Gabriel Luna. Now, for some of you who are unfamiliar with the name, Gabriel Luna was in the last Terminator movie, Dark Fate. He played the evil Terminator in that one. He was also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Ghost Rider. So, and, he was good in the Terminator movie. The movie wasn't good, but that's like most of the Terminator movies. But he did a fine job. I enjoyed his portrayal of the evil Terminator. Zach, I know you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What can you tell me about him as Ghost Rider?
I think he did good. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a complete mess because it just was. It just was an utter mess, which, that's the reason why I was always trepidatious about Marvel going back into TV because they already proved that they can't do it. So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier proved that wrong, because so far that's good, but I wasn't a fan of WandaVision, so that just kind of felt the same, more of the disappointment. But Gabriel Luna, I think, did a really good job, because the one thing about his scenes is that despite how, soap opera-y the story of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of going, I really do feel as if he did his part very well, and he was very believable and all this stuff, because, for his scenes and the way that they had him going in his character motivations, it really was kind of showing that tortured soul kind of look, and I think he did a really good job in showing that, and kind of then doing the action scenes part of it and everything else. I think he did a very, very, very good job in what was a very mediocre to bad series. So I do not think that his time in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should ever be held against him, because I think he was a highlight, especially of the season that he was in.
Alright, that's going to be none for the Last of Us topic. I'm sure there's going to be more casting soon, since like I said, they're going to start rolling on this, I think, the end of spring, early summer. Alright, moving on to our next topic here. So, this is going to be, we're going to be talking about two actors. One was announced about a couple weeks prior to this week, but then this week a new actor was brought on. So, Indiana Jones 5. They're finally making another one. The last one came out in 2008, the year I was graduating high school. Actually, not even the year. 2 days before graduating, the fourth one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was released. I know I saw that movie twice that week. Once with one friend, and then once with my uncle and my dad, the day of graduation. So it's been a while. I like the Indiana Jones movies. Wasn't a fan of the fourth one, like most people. They originally had Frank Darabont write a script, and then of course George Lucas didn't like the script, and Steven Spielberg loved the script that Frank Darabont wrote. But since he was such good friends with George Lucas, he just said, "Okay, George, what do you got?" And we saw what he got. We saw what George Lucas brought to the table. And now here we are in 2021. The movie, the must come out next year. We'll see. It's been delayed many times. Like I said, the last one came out in 2008. But we do have some new casting. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be playing the main female role. We don't know if that's going to be a love interest, a villain, another person part of the team. And we got Mads Mikkelsen coming in to play the villain. So Zach, what do you think about this casting? What are your thoughts on Indiana Jones?
I really think that bringing Mads Mikkelsen into basically just about anything is always a good move in my book. I don't ever really see anything, especially if it's a villain role. I hate to typecast the dude, but like he does an amazing job in that villain role. Like even with the cruddy villain of Doctor Strange, like the character motivations and all that stuff was pretty cruddy.
Yeah,
but,
they wasted him in that movie.
Right, but I think he did a really good job in it.
That's
so it's just going like he's able to take the terrible writing of some of things that he gets and makes it really good. And then when you give him a really, really, really good character to go with, you're able to get more out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it right now. I like Doctor Strange the movie. They wasted Mads Mikkelsen as the villain, because I've been saying for a while now, he probably would have been the perfect Doctor Doom, but since they've already used him in Doctor Strange, that's really a bummer.
Yeah.
And he would have been a great Doctor. He has that voice, that Middle East, like foreign, with just his presence. He could have made a great Doctor Doom. But yes, some people say he's been typecast too much. Like Casino Royale is where I first saw him in. He was a great villain in that. Another role that, people said no one can meet the great Anthony Hopkins. Came in and played Hannibal Lecter on the Hannibal show. blew it out of the water. And yes, he's playing another villain here. And yes, he played a villain in Doctor Strange. And you can say maybe he's being typecast, but, and we recently found out he's taken over the role of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the next Fantastic Beasts movie. Though he's taken over franchises, he's been in Star Wars Rogue One, like I said, Bond.
Where he was actually playing the good guy.
He was playing the good guy in that.
So
he was in Bond. He's been in the MCU. Now he's doing Indiana Jones. I mean, he's a great actor, and I hope they don't waste him like they did with Kate Blanchett in the fourth Indiana Jones. You got a great actress, and you completely wasted her in that movie. And what do you think about Phoebe Waller-Bridge? I mean, I don't really know much about her, but I mean, she had that one show she was on. We talked about recently she's doing that new Mr. and Mrs. Smith show. She wrote part of the new Bond movie that's coming out.
Yeah, she seems like she's a woman who could do it all. So that's really good. And then with her time behind the camera, might give her some real easy thing to basically if some parts of the script do turn out crap, that she might be a real good guiding force on the set to basically say, nah, let's do something a little bit better.
Well, the good thing about this too is it's not directed by Steven Spielberg. I love Steven Spielberg, but it means that George Lucas has no influence on the script. James Mangold is directing it. People might remember him from 310 to Yuma. He did Ford v Ferrari recently. He did Logan. He did the Wolverine, the one in Japan. He's a great director. So when they announced him doing this rather than Spielberg returning, I thought, okay, we're not going to have Spielberg. This is probably the next best choice to do an Indiana Jones movie. So I know he helped write the script. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we find out that Phoebe Waller-Bridge did help, go in there and touch some things up a little bit, like she did with Bond, the James Bond movie. So overall, you got Mads Mikkelsen, that's a win. You got this Phoebe Waller-Bridge actress that's taking over Hollywood from writing, directing, acting. She's becoming a big name. So far it's a win. I don't know what other actors they're going to hire. Anybody else from the original movies, like Karen Allen, or, God forbid, Shia LaBeouf. I like Shia LaBeouf, but once again, he was also underused and, written pretty shitty in that last movie.
Yeah, I think it was actually really funny is that if they had written that character just a little bit better, they would have had, the a thing about this was to try and get Shia LaBeouf to basically take the helm and move it on and transfer lead characters and move it on that way. So I find it just really funny. It's just going well, that was your goal, and then your writing was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And then you can't do what you were trying to do.
And then Shia LaBeouf threw Steven Spielberg under the bus a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt he'll be returning unless they just recast the actor, recast the character, and just bring in another actor to at least somewhat continue.
Yeah, and with the stuff that's happening with Shia LaBeouf lately, it's probably not a bad idea if that is something that you want to do.
Yeah, I'm sure Steven Spielberg will not be bringing back Shia anytime soon anyway.
I think it's just you want to know what? Just at least use it. Have Mads Mikkelsen kill Shia LaBeouf's character, even if it's off screen.
That would be good at the opening.
Yeah, just do it off screen using the shadows and all that stuff, and just boom. Then you don't have to worry about anything. And then I think the one thing is that Indiana Jones has always had I think the Temple of Doom. If I'm remembering.
Yeah, Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that one was the one where you where I was totally creeped out.
Well, that was about that. Real quick history lesson. That was the first movie to be ever rated PG-13. That started the PG-13 rating. Was the Temple of Doom. So thank you, Steven Spielberg.
You gave us the in-between.
You gave us Titanic that was PG-13, and yeah, you gave us Titanic.
So I think the one thing is just going like, the one reason why, at least for me, is like, it's really, Temple of Doom and then the first one. I forget the tagline.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, thank you. I shouldn't forget that one, but it's blanked my mind. No, but it's like, those are the two Indiana Jones ones that I really, really, really remember. And the reason that I remember is, one, the Raiders is the first one, and the Temple of Doom is one of it's the most gory one out of them. And it was like, that was kind of like a shocking thing for it. Was because Indiana Jones, despite it being, what it is, and the hilariousness of the Nazis face melting and stuff like that, but like the scenes in the Temple of Doom, that scared me as a child.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, too, Temple of Doom is actually a prequel to the first one.
Right.
I never knew that for a long time, and then I'm like,
but it's better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Raiders is good. Temple of Doom is really, really good.
And then The Last Crusade with Sean Connery coming in to play Indy's father was like a stroke of genius. We're going to get the meth Bond to be the father of this archaeologist pseudo-Bond that they were going for when they pitched the idea of doing this. So, also Harrison Ford is returning. Harrison Ford is almost 80 years old. By the time this movie comes out, he will be in his 80s. So I don't know, in terms of action, how much action Harrison Ford is going to be doing.
That dude's been in a couple plane crashes.
Yeah, I know. That's even more than one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what their plan is.
Let's just hope that he doesn't have the same clauses in his contract, just like he did for Star Wars. You have to kill me off.
I mean, that might be a part. I mean, it'll be interesting if they do decide to bring in someone to take over the role. Not Shia LaBeouf, but I mean, because there were rumors at one point that they were going to restart the franchise, reboot the franchise, and look at someone like a Bradley Cooper or a Chris Pratt to take over the role. So,
yeah, and I think the one thing about that is that you just named two actors who have a lot of goodwill with fans. And I think that's like the one thing about what they want to do with this. If they want to do this and introduce basically do, the Crystal Skull right and introduce the person to come in and take over and everything else. One, it's going to be really interesting. The next movie, if Indiana Jones is dead and you're still calling it Indiana Jones. So, unless you introduce the long-lost, estranged child of Indiana Jones, we're doing the whole plot beat over again, come Indiana Jones Jr. or something.
I mean,
it's like, you're losing the name value of this. So, I think just a reboot of the thing, getting Indiana Jones with someone who's not Indiana Jones is weird.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones that I think would be... I understand that Harrison Ford's still alive and everything else, but it's like, I really feel as if this probably should have been like a reboot.
Yeah.
And it was just going like, and to get an actor who has that goodwill with the fans that people aren't going to go like, get really mad at doing that. Because we've seen that before, where people reboot stuff and then people just go like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Let's just think about it. Ben Affleck and Batman. People hated him. All up until the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. Well, even Solo. I mean, you want to like Aldrin Ehrenreich, who played Han Solo in that. Yeah, I mean, and like that, I mentioned those two actors because they're both. Chris Pratt also knows Spielberg because of the Jurassic World movies. And Bradley Cooper, already does the voice of Rocket Raccoon from Marvel. And so there's, I don't know, I'm not sure on this. I thought Indiana Jones went over to Disney. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought maybe, not sure, maybe they're still at Paramount. I don't know what the rights where those are. But even so, Bradley Cooper would be. I mean, Chris Pratt would be a good choice too. But I would always rather see like a Bradley Cooper in that role. If he can, at least Bradley Cooper, we've seen him do more serious roles too than Pratt. But we also seen Cooper do like The Hangover, so he can be funny. So, I don't know. I mean, and who knows, maybe by the end of the movie, we do see Harrison Ford truly pass over the hat to somebody. And maybe Chris Pratt walks out, or walks into a room, or Cooper, and it's okay. Because I don't think, if they're doing an Indiana Jones 5, this is not going to be a one and done.
Yeah, you would assume that there would be more after this, but I don't know. I feel one of two ways about this. If this is a Harrison Ford Indiana Jones movie, I kind of almost want this to be one and done. Like, do it right, send him off right, and then, like, figure out how you want to reboot it.
I mean, they did that with the third one. The third one, they had him literally riding off into the sunset.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the perfect way to close the curtain. Done. And then they did 4.
Now they're doing 5. So, are we continuing to fall down the hill that we started when we made 4, or are we, picking ourselves up and walking back up the hill?
Yeah, the bad thing is, if they knew if 5 is technically a done for Ford, they're going to reboot it in a couple of years.
Right.
So it would be like, well, why didn't you just do that with number 5? And just, end it. Have Cooper being the older Shia LaBeouf, Indy Jr.
I mean, it would kind of make sense. It's been enough time.
Yeah.
So
maybe they will. That would be interesting to have Cooper. If you want to get someone that looks enough like LaBeouf in terms of the hair and the physique, Cooper would actually be a better choice in that regard. So, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I really... It's all kind of depends on what they're going for. I think, at the very least, from the way that the direction is going for, it's going to be a very easy summer movie to go and enjoy. And I think that's the one thing that... It's like, can we just be happy with that? Like, there's a reason why, like, Transformers, the first few Transformers movie made so much money. It's just because it's like, they're just nice, simple.
Fun.
Yeah. It's like, where are those movies? Like, we need those types of movies again, just because those are the movies that the general population fall in love with the theaters, and that's actually what's really going to help the theaters get back from this pandemic, is really going to be, it's not going to be the Lincolns and the whatever. It's going to be the Transformers. It's going to be the Marvel movies, the Fast and Furious. Speaking of the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, speaking of, we're going to move on to our next topic. And, well, lo and behold, there was a new Fast 9 trailer that came out earlier this week. Finally, the last trailer came out before the pandemic began. So it's been over a year since we've had a trailer. This movie wasn't supposed to come out in May, and then they moved it to the end of June now. So, new Fast 9 trailer. What do you think of it?
Oh, I have a perfect analogy for this. The best way to think about the Fast and Furious franchise right now is...
family.
No. Okay, the best way to think about all this, just think of all the characters as action figures, and you've given them to a couple of 10-year-old kids, and you say, go play. Because... we started with the Hot Wheels of just driving around. We had a couple movies of just driving around. And then we gave the kid a G.I. Joe. And then we got all the military Fast and Furious stuff. And now all of a sudden you've given him Buzz Lightyear. And the kid's about to send everyone to space.
Yeah.
So just think about it as just like a kid is just playing in his room. And I think what they kind of should do is at the very end, when they're done with the Fast and Furious stuff, is have a post-credit scene of where they're doing exactly that. and just have like action figures of it all, and just go like, Timmy, time for lunch, and have like that General Hospital type of moment and all that stuff.
Or like Lego Movie.
Right. And just like, you know, just like, because like right now, there's no rhyme or reason for what they're doing. They basically decided, it's like, why don't we just have a car fly off a cliff and a plane come down and catch it? How? Magnets. Doesn't work like that. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I like the Fast and Furious franchise. One of my favorite franchises to watch.
Oh, I agree. Really good.
In fact, not this week, but next week, Fast 5 will be hitting its 10th anniversary. And that's the movie that really, no pun intended, steered this franchise in a wild direction where common sense went out the window. And we're just going to do whatever. These, fixing cars in a garage group of people are now working for the FBI, flying through the cities with magnets. Yeah. There's a point where, yes, you truly have to turn off your brain at this point, almost like Transformers. But to an extent, you're like, do we really need to go this far? Do we really need to... Like, even the last movie I didn't enjoy because it was starting to go almost too far.
Yeah, I think I actually kind of would have liked to see the four, the Fast and the Furious one, which was the number 4, which is actually the one that I like the most because it kind of refocused everything. It brought back Paul Walker, brought back Vin Diesel and all that stuff.
Brought back the main gang.
Yeah, the main gang, and it really brought that back into focus and all that stuff, and it gave them... It was kind of like a soft reboot because, Walker was back with law enforcement. Vin Diesel was doing bad stuff.
Yeah, it was almost like a soft reboot, but also like a trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. Really meshed well as one story.
Right, and then,
7.
I can't... Hold on. This is Fast 9, right?
Yeah.
Wait, 7 was...
7 was when Paul Walker...
died.
Yeah.
That's the one where they ended up in Los Angeles again. And that was like with God's Eye, right?
Jason Statham.
Right.
Yeah.
And God's Eye. I'm pretty sure that was...
Yeah.
That was 7. And
Kurt
then
Russell.
8 was...
8 was Charlie Theron.
Yeah.
Cypher. Which
That
they
one wasn't
completely
that
wasted.
good.
No, I didn't like that one. They wasted Charlie Theron, like I said before. We're going to have her behind a computer talking the whole movie. And it's like, this is the girl who's been in, like, Eon Flux and, Atomic Blonde, doing all these action stuff, and you're just going to have her sit behind a computer, and she's an Academy Award-winning actress? Like, really? Really? And now this one, they're bringing back Charlize Theron, okay. But, I don't know. John Cena as Dom's brother, when they have never mentioned a brother in the other 8 movies. We've always known he's had a sister, Mia, which we've seen since the first movie. She is coming back in this one. But I'm like, a brother?
Look, this is
family, but where did this family come from?
This is the telenovela of this. It's starting going like where everyone's just sitting around, and then all of a sudden the door bursts open, and then you have the main characters go like, "Oh my God, it's my long lost brother."
That we never mentioned once.
Yeah, she's just like, "And how's your brother?" Reasons.
Not only have we not mentioned them, but even at the house, they never had a photo of them anywhere in the background to be like, yeah, I had a brother.
Right.
Even if they had a picture, now I'm sure in the movie, you're going to see a picture somewhere.
Oh, yeah, you're going to see a de-aged John Cena,
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, and
from
you're
like
going to have that.
From like the first movie, 20 years ago.
I wouldn't be surprised if they used, if they use a scene from the first thing of just like a random scene of like Vin Diesel holding a photograph. I don't even know if that shot's in the first one, but if there is, I'm pretty sure they're just gonna CGI in the photo of like of his family or something.
Mia, Dom, and then whoever John Cena's character's name is.
Jacob, I think. Which is also just going like, it's really funny because it's just going like, Mia, Dom, Jacob. Just going like, yeah, that definitely sounds like the same naming structure a family went through.
Mia, Dom, Jacob.
I like I said earlier, it's like this is one of the movies where you just like you don't think, you go in and you enjoy the explosions and you move on.
And
with
then
life.
what happened to the only 3 letters in the name? Mia, Dom.
Well, technically his name is Dominic, right?
But everyone calls him Dom.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with Dom. I'm sure Mia stands for something else. But Mia, Dom, Jacob.
Jack.
That's 4.
No,
Take out the
J-A-K. They could do J-A-K. And they probably are spelling, I don't know, I don't think they've spelled out the name yet, but I'm assuming he's going to be J-A-K-O-B, not J-A-C-O-B.
But,
Yeah, the K, just like in Mortal Kombat, you use the Ks. The
mean,
Ks are cool, man.
And also, I mean, they're bringing back Han. When it's like...
Alright, Han is like dead.
In the trailer, they even running up like, so how are we going to say you're back? How are we going to tell people you're back? Yeah, I want to know how you... He blew up in a car.
That was a very big motivation for an entire movie.
An entire movie.
An entire movie was built around the fact that he was murdered.
Yeah. I mean, not blown up. That means body parts went everywhere. So, was there a sewer right under the car? Are we going to pull another Mission Impossible? Yeah, just go down in the...
I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. It's like...
If they do that, I'll pay you. I will. You're hearing it here first.
So let's think about
everyone. You're hearing it first. If that happens in the movie, I'm going to pay my partner $20.
Perfect. Now let's name some other ways that they could do this. It's not Han. It's his identical twin brother.
Oh, another. What's his name?
So what other tropes can we do? No, his name is also Han. He's taken on the name of Han in memory of his dead twin.
No, it's not Jacob.
And since Han told his twin brother everything that he went through, he has all the memories of Han. The bad thing about this is that you bring back Han, but like Gal Gadot's dead. Like just like Han. Like Han blew up, Gal Gadot's character, she's dead. She fell. She gone. Yeah. Like they're both dead. And they were the pairing.
Now,
and it was just like, I kind of feel bad.
I mean,
you would assume that if Han was coming back, he would probably want to go after, like, the Evanses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be... when they knew in the trailer, you do see the original people from Tokyo Drift. They had Little Bow Wow in there. Mm-hmm. Really, they had Lucas Black, the only white guy in the Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
He's back. And then one of the people working on the cars in Tokyo. Mm. So I don't know, they're going to have some sort of... Maybe they've been hiding Han this whole time in Tokyo. Maybe.
But that was like... Okay, now I'm thinking about it. Han's death is the major plot point in 2 movies. Not only is it the plot beat in Tokyo Drift for the finale of Tokyo Drift, it's the entire plot beat of...
number 7.
Yeah, so it's like... I don't know.
Well, I mean, like I said, they brought back Michelle Rodriguez after supposedly they had her die in the 4th one, and they're like, no, she's just been in a coma.
Yeah, but at least, like, okay, when they killed her off, it wasn't as definitive as that. They at least explained it.
No, yeah, she got
where she was out of the car, then the explosion happened, and we just assumed that she was dead.
Yeah, but...
So there was, if they at least, okay... There was an attempt to cover their ass. There is no attempt here because you've killed him off in 2 movies. Yeah. You showed him dying in 1. Then you showed him
dying again. At the
you want to know what? I believe here's another way they
He's a clone.
No, he's not a clone. This takes place before he dies. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
But his hair and everything was different. He looked older.
I know. Reasons.
Reason.
Reasons.
Okay.
Reason why technically Tokyo Drift didn't happen after 6. Before 7.
Yeah, you
Technically.
I just confuse everyone even more.
I know. I don't know.
So
Like,
you have to watch 1, 2, skip Tokyo,
Yeah.
go to 4, then go to 5, then watch Tokyo, then watch 4, 5, 6, then watch Tokyo, then watch 7, but before you get to 8, watch 9,
yeah.
then go watch 8,
Yeah.
and then 10 and 11.
Yeah. I think that's how we should do it.
Now, I hope they don't go to space.
Oh, they are. They already teased it with
They're
the.
not completely. They had them in like some sort of space suits.
They're gonna. They're going to space.
What are they going to do in space?
I don't know. Set off a nuke in space, probably.
Armageddon you. They're going to team up with Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck is going to be in there. And everyone's going to be like, dude, I thought we'd done this before. And there's another meteor coming. we fucked up so badly. We got COVID, and now we need something to just wipe us out. COVID didn't work. So, we're going to space.
Yeah.
Then we got the oil riggers and the garage car repairmen saving Earth. We're really fucked. We are. I hate to say it. Bruce Willis is gonna die again. You gotta do another song. We got Aerosmith coming back to do the soundtrack. Liv Tyler, I know you're not doing anything recently. You get to return and cry again. And then, you're not playing Batman anymore, so, you gotta come back. And this time, we're gonna reverse it. Dom and Ben Affleck are gonna stay on the meteor while everyone else comes home.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about as logical a conclusion to Fast and Furious as they're going to be.
They're going to be arguing on who's going to one that's going to press the button. So we're going to have Dom and Batman fighting on the meteor.
I want to die. I want to die and be the hero. No, I want to die and be the hero.
I'm Batman. I die. No, I'm Dom. I work for the FBI. I'm the savior of the United States. I started in my garage.
So, I think the only logical conclusion, if we're not going the asteroid route... aliens.
We're going the asteroid route.
No. We're going to go with aliens.
Oh.
Dom has to unite humanity against the aliens.
Someone brought up a great point. We could have the Fast and Furious and the Transformers. They drive cars. They turn into cars. They're from an alien planet. There we go.
See, now we just need to, give the super soldier serum to Dom so that way when he's riding an Optimus Prime and Optimus Prime transforms and then punches Megatron, Dom also is like flying through the air and just like punches some random thing in the face.
I'm telling you, Transformers, Fast and Furious.
I mean, at this point in time, when are we just going to reveal that, Dom wasn't, he was found in a crater... And his parents brought him back, and we really learned that Dom's real name is Kal-El.
That's our new Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I mean, like,
Lois.
that's kind of where this is going, and that's kind of just like, this is all of, like, watch it, enjoy it, move on. I think,
Lois.
they might have, like, there's kind of like that thing of just going, like, really? And it takes some people out. Like, I know, like, it will take my sister out because she actually was, like, a really big fan of the Dom and I can't even remember Gal Gadot's character's name. But, like, yeah, it's, she was, like, she liked that pairing. And, when they both died, it was kind of like, it hit her. And, now, just like with half of it being brought back and all that stuff, you're going to have that. Unless we're all of a sudden going to randomly reveal, there, I had a parachute on. I survived.
Yeah, they should have ended it for Fast 7 once Paul Walker died.
Yeah, I mean, they had a great, like...
Ending.
Yeah, they had a great ending and everything else. It's like, at this point in time, it kind of really does feel as if, the movie studio wants more money.
And we're getting 2 more.
Yeah, I really think so. I think I touched on this earlier, but I want to revisit this a little bit. Is that I think I almost think that at this point in time, instead of escalating, they should have de-escalated. Kind of like how the Fast and the Furious was like a tone shift, change and all that stuff is how it kind of brought it back down. I think to having a thing that would be more about street racing again would be, and then build it up from there would be, it's kind of like to de-stress everything a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
and just like, I don't know. I guess this is why we need a halfway decent Need for Speed movie. So so that way we can just have like a standard, racing movie again, street racing movie, because they used to like that was like all the rage when the Fast and the Furious came out. There was like 20 of them, and then now there's nothing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how this next movie does, and I mean, I guess it's gonna probably end with some sort of cliffhanger, since they said the next 9, 10, 11 isn't gonna be a trilogy. It's all gonna be one story. So maybe the movie will end with the cars leaving Earth, going into space, end credits, or we see them going into space, and you see a giant Megatron ship waiting for them. I don't know.
The stuffed mannequin that was in the Tesla car that got shot into space? That was Dom. He's just sitting there and just going like, I'm driving into the sun.
But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next topic here. So, about a week ago, Paramount came out, moved some movies around. They once again moved the new Top Gun Maverick from the summer to now November. They moved Mission Impossible from December to next spring or summer. So, what? They added a movie. A new Star Trek movie is coming in the summer of 2023, which is only about 2 years away, which is not far, if you think about it. They gotta cast it, shoot it, edit, market it.
And this was gonna be a reboot, right?
We don't. That's the thing they did not say. Is it a reboot? Is it a complete reboot of a whole new group? Is it gonna continue from like maybe Star Trek Discovery show, or are they gonna bring back the Kelvin timeline with the J.J. Abrams crew with Chris Pine, Zoe Saldana, Carl Urban, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg.
Yeah, all those actors are gonna be asking for a lot more money this time around.
Well, also people might forget this, but when Star Trek Beyond came out, like a week before that movie came out, they already greenlit a fourth movie, and they were gonna bring back Chris Hemsworth, who played Kirk's father in the opening of the 2009 Star Trek, and they were going to do some sort of, Kirk goes through a wormhole, and he ends up meeting his father in this timeline or in this universe, and they were going to team up and have to go do something, which I was really like, at that time, like, Chris Hemsworth is a big name now. You have Pine, the two Chris's, in a movie together.
And then you need to cast Chris Evans as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris to the third power.
I mean,
that's our movie.
I mean, they did that in Marvel. They got Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and Chris, what was the other? Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So, we need another Chris. I like the J.J. Abrams films. I've never been a huge Star Trek fan, but I do like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek Into Darkness, and even the Justin Lin Star Trek Beyond. They didn't make money, but I also blame that on them delaying the movie so long. Like, the first one came out in 2009, and then the next one didn't come out until 2013. That was 4 years later. That should have been out at the very, minimum 2 to 3 years by like 2010, 2011. And then by 2013, I have a third one out. And then what happened was, then they waited 3 years between the second and third one. And when the third one came out, they already had the new Star Wars movie out. Mm-hmm. So Star Wars already took over again as the more dominant sci-fi.
Right. The one thing that people kind of forget is that Star Trek was basically the TV superpower, and Star Wars was the movie superpower. So you kind of had, when Star Trek, Star Trek also had its movies. but its primary thing that everyone, really remembers and everything else is going to be the TV series. So I think that they kind of got screwed because I will be completely honest, I don't even remember the plot line of the third Star Trek movie. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. And I know I saw the movie, but I can't, don't even remember. So, but I want to give credit to the Star Trek stuff because they have the best soft reboot ever in the and as far as I'm concerned, for doing a soft reboot of stuff. It was brilliant.
The 2009 one?
Yeah, the original one of how they rebooted everything. And that's what they did, is they brought back, Kirk and everyone else, but you did it in a way that basically they just said, wormhole, time, science magic, and that, but it's like, the way that they did it is that it was just going like the, just like all the memes just go like, same, but different.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's kind of what it was, is like, and that's how you really saw it, is that you saw, like, this personalities were like mostly the same, but then some of their backstory was changed.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
Like I said, I'm a fan of the recent movies. I really do hope they bring back that cast. I know a lot of, also not only the box office didn't give them the money they wanted, but also some of these movies cost like $200 million to make. You don't need to make a Star Trek movie for $200 million when you have these ones on TV for less than $100 million, and the quality looks no different than on the big screen. So
all the special effects stuff is also now much, much cheaper to do.
And of course at the time too, the great Anton Yelchin actor who played Chekhov passed away, and that put a damper on them moving forward. And then Leonard Nimoy also passed away not too long around that time. So they've been hit with box office numbers and people passing away. So, I mean, I hope they do. Like I said, I want them to bring back this cast. I think Chris Pine, Zoe Saldana, Carl Urban, Simon Pegg, Zachary Quinto is a great ensemble. And I would hate for them to, say, okay, moving on, and get a whole new cast. I mean, they could.
Yeah, it all kind of depends on what they were doing. I mean, they kind of did the OG. Now, what about rebooting, all the others?
Yeah, and
give us a new Picard.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, too, I mean, they could, but the only reason I'm kind of thinking they might not be rebooting is because, like I just said, this movie basically comes out in 2 years. That seems like a lot more work. Now, I don't know how far they really are on this, for I don't think it already have a cast lined up. But if they don't, it'll be a lot easier to just sign new deals with the newer cast that they've done and move on from there.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It all depends, but it's interesting because, Star Wars right now is moving to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like right now, there's no
Star Wars movie coming out anytime soon.
Right. I think the closest one was going to be the Rogue Squadron. Isn't that supposed to be a movie?
That's like 2023.
Right.
The end of 2020.
Same year.
Yes, but Trek will be out before that.
Right.
So.
But then also you're thinking about the star power of both of the things. If you use the Rogue Squadron one, we don't know anything about it, but unless they do the smart decision, which would be casting Sebastian Stan as a younger Luke Skywalker and having it that way, which at this point in time, with all the things that were shown up about how close Sebastian Stan looks to a young Mark Hamill, if Disney doesn't do that, then at this point in time it's just going like you're morons. To the nth degree. But
we're going to see Sebastian Stan in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
As a young Luke.
Yeah! Do it! Hurry up and do it already. I mean, at that point in time, it's just going like, I know whatever political reason, the higher ups at Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk at Lucasfilm hates Luke for whatever reason, because they're stupid.
But,
You know, whatever. Moving on. But the one thing is that what Star Trek could have as compared to the Rogue Squadron movie is going to end up being the more recognizable names.
yeah.
Star Wars has proven that Star Wars is not Star Wars without certain characters. The Mandalorian, let's face it, the Mandalorian, the main character, looked like Boba Fett. Then, in the end of the first episode, you gave it Yoda. You basically had Yoda and Boba Fett running around for the Mandalorian.
And then the second season, you had Boba Fett.
Yeah. So it's just like, if you think about it in terms of that, is that the characters, while the characters might not have been recognizable, the people that they looked like were obscenely recognizable.
Well, that's like real quickly, that's like with the Solo movie. I mean, everyone bitched and moaned about that movie, but the only thing that people ever talk about is the 1-2 seconds of Darth Maul showing up on screen. And that's it. Like, people think, oh, you see that Darth Maul was in there. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's the star power of the characters that you know about.
So,
you know, unless Rogue Squadron has, you know...
Luke?
Yeah, has Luke, you know, or someone that we know about, then, you know... it's like because there's other characters in, you know, the books and all that stuff that they could pull from. You know, they could recast a young Wedge Antilles and all that other stuff, which I would be down for. I would love to see Corran Horn in that, which is he's basically Luke but not Luke. It's basically kind of what it is. He joined Rogue Squadron, then found out, oh shit, I have force powers.
But
so
you know, coming back to Star Trek real quick, I mean. Mostly, like the movie basically comes out in 2 years, which means probably very, very soon we're going to hear a lot of stuff. I mean, they're probably going to start shooting this at least by the fall.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Because a movie like this is still going to take a lot of special effects, a lot of post-production work. So I'd say by fall we will probably know director, cast lined up, and probably be shooting by the end of the year, early next year. I mean, we're already in almost the end of April, so, you know, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing, is that, you know, it's all, for this movie, it's all going to depend on what the heck they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be something to get, you know, regardless of what they choose, I think it's going to be a reason to get excited. Because if they bring back, you know, the new generation cast and all that stuff, of everything else, or if what they're doing is like a reboot of Picard and all that stuff, you know, it's going to be real interesting to see, because these are characters that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, they can bring back Tom Hardy.
Right. They can do whatever they want to do.
that would be, and they brought back Tom Hardy from Nemesis, who played the clone Picard. Mm-hmm. That would be hilarious.
They could do whatever they want. But I think it would be really, really cool and interesting.
But yeah, I mean, like that, Chris Hemsworth is a bigger name now. They would be smart to capitalize on that. You know, if you announce Chris Hemsworth returning to Star Trek, I think people will go AWOL over that. So, we'll see. I mean, they didn't really do a movie with just Chris Hemsworth and another group of people. Mm-hmm. You know, even almost like a prequel to the 2009 movie.
Yeah.
And they wanted to. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see who they cast, who returns. But we're going to move on to our final topic here. So, this week, I think the people at Marvel are bringing out the sniper rifles. And they're not aiming at Tom Holland anymore or Mark Ruffalo. They're aiming at Alfred Molina. Alfred Molina, I don't know what he was thinking, but I know Marvel's going, what the is he saying? So, our boy Alfred Molina, you know, people might remember him as Dr. Octavius in Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi's film. We've heard a while ago that he was going to be returning to the new Spider-Man No Way Home of Tom Holland's movie. But we didn't know how. We didn't know if he's going to be just playing a different version in this universe of the Tom Holland universe. I mean, almost like J.K. Simmons returned for as J. Jonah Jameson at the end of Far From Home. But our boy Molina spilled the beans in a major way. No, apparently our boy Alfred Molina, said, yeah, I am going to be the same Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 movie. He says, where that movie, the last thing you see of me in that movie is where we start my character in Spider-Man No Way Home. And everyone went, huh? Now, when I heard that, I thought, that's brilliant. In a way. I mean, as I said, he built this power of the sun that sucked stuff into it. Mm-hmm. But we never explored where that stuff is going.
Yeah, we just dropped it into the Brooklyn...
The river.
Yeah, the Brooklyn River, and then just like... Ah!
You know that famous line, I will not die a monster. Mm-hmm. And then... And we see him drowning in the river. But, once again...
Yeah, just remember, the Brooklyn River can undo a sun.
Yeah.
The sun would immediately evaporate any water.
But once again, we never thought, even earlier in the film, when he first does his experiment, and his wife died, once again, a lot of things were being sucked into that ball of, energy. Mm-hmm. And then that's the catalyst for not being sucked into this ball of energy, when it gets spit back out in another universe, like the Tom Holland universe. That is kind of brilliant, I have to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't we think about that? I mean, you saw in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, that's exactly what happened. Things were being sucked into that thing and then spit back out in another universe.
Yeah, and I think the one thing it's just... The reason why I think this is a genius move, we're talking about it. So, there you go.
Thank you, Molina.
We're talking about it. We're not the only people talking about it. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, Marvel's probably shitting a brick right now.
Right, but at the same time, sure, you might have given away a small plot detail. But, you're also you've planted this seed of the idea. So as long as they don't go in and change this, if this is true and how this is, getting people to accept this in the theaters is going to be so much easier because we already know it.
Yeah.
It's what we're expecting it to be. So instead of having someone look at that and just like, I call ball, and having someone get completely taken out of the movie, you've already planted the seed. So anyone who doesn't like that facet can get their grievances out now. Yeah, so when the movie comes around, they just go and watch it.
You got 8 months, exactly 8 months from, I think, Thursday. So there's exactly 8 months till that movie comes out, if it doesn't get delayed again. But let me ask you that. So at the end of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock did have an arc. By the end he decided not to do it. He was like, I'll destroy the thing. I don't want to become a monster when I die. I want to go out as a good person. So him being fit into this ball, jumping into another universe, what do you think that's going to do for his arc, though?
Throw it in the trash can and move on with life. They can always do the thing because they said that, the arms were the thing that was corrupting him. So, they could just have that again. The arms are corrupting him. And just going like, yeah, whatever. But, he's coming in. There makes no point for him not to be the villain. Yeah. Because he's such an iconic villain. But, I really think that, they're just going to take his character arc and throw it in the trash. And then move on with life.
Maybe.
Or what they could do is, sorry to cut you off, but it's like what they could do is that he could come in, get plopped into an alley, be looking up when he says, when J. Jonah Jameson is doing that thing and goes like, that's not my Peter Parker. Wait a minute. My wife might be alive in this timeline. And then he goes to try and find his wife and whatever, and then that's how he turns evil, is that he sees his wife again, or his wife is also dead in this universe, or something of the like, and that just causes him to go crazy.
Or, let me throw this one. Because of the events of Far From Home, where things were being exploding and things were getting destroyed, if that ends up killing his wife in the Tom Holland universe, and he sees that, and obviously Spider-Man being framed for the death of Mysterio, that could be a catalyst of, my wife was alive at one point, Spider-Man killed this guy, and all his destruction ended up killing my wife in this universe. Now J. Jonah Jameson is public enemy number 1, Spider-Man. I gotta go after him. Well, let me ask. So, Alfred Molina's older now. He's almost 70. They're gonna de-age. So I'm guessing they're gonna de-age him.
Nah. Screw it.
Because the nerd is like, he actually brought up in the article from either Collider or Hollywood Reporter. He's like, in Civil War, we had a younger Robert Downey Jr. at the beginning, when he looked like he did in the 90s. And
it didn't look good.
And in Ant-Man, we had Michael Douglas look younger at the beginning.
And it didn't look good.
And then we had the Irishman with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci.
And it didn't look good. Do you want to... Hold on. There's 2 more. There's 2 Star Wars references that you could make.
Oh, yeah, Leia in Rogue One.
It didn't look good.
And
There's technically 3.
Luke.
It didn't look good.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah. And how about bringing back Moff Tarkin from the grave? Guess what? Didn't look good. So, how about we stop doing this thing where it doesn't look good? When the whatever $2 face app on your iPhone does a better job than millions of dollars worth of CGI. Maybe it's time for you to look at something and go like, this doesn't effing work.
I mean, I think if they do the de-age, me interesting how much screen time.
They could de-age him with practical makeup. Dye his hair, give him a wig to make his hair look fuller or whatever, or something
shave,
like that.
Shave.
Yeah, shave. Give him, something something like that.
I mean, you
but
can do a little
putting
bit.
CGI stuff in for it, it's just going like, why?
But here's my bigger interesting point. Now, we heard when Jamie Foxx was cast as coming back as a Electro of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, he said he's going to have a new look, a different look from the blue version. So, why are they going to have Jamie Foxx as Electro have a different look, costume-wise, and obviously overall, body-wise, look, but the Molina Doctor is going to be the same?
Probably because Jamie Foxx didn't like the way he looked, and he said, "It's like, I'll come back and do this, but you're gonna make me look better."
I ain't gonna be blue no more.
Yeah, it's like, there's your reason. It's probably because Alfred Molina came in and was like, I really like how it was. We spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit better, modernize it a little bit, but yeah. And then Jamie Foxx came in and was like, I don't want to be blue. And they're going like, done.
All right, let me.
There's not going to be a reason for it. It's going to be because Jamie Foxx didn't want it.
Let me throw out a hypothetical here.
So
we've been hearing rumors, whispers. We know that Tobey Maguire, I think it's pretty much confirmed, he's going to be in this movie. There's rumors he might be showing up in Doctor Strange 2, even though they just wrapped shooting this week, and we have heard 0 on that movie. No photos, no nothing. So they kept that movie tight, locked, sealed. So we really don't know what is going to happen in that movie. Other than that, you got Doctor Strange, and you got Wanda. That's about it. But we do know that Sam Raimi is directing that Doctor Strange too. And we know Sam Raimi directed the original Spider-Man films. And there might be a rumor that we might see Tobey Maguire pop up in the Multiverse of Madness, aka Multiverse. Now, Zachary Cena, I want to know, because someone threw this out there this week when they announced this Alfred Molina. Since they're going back to the very last scene of Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, and with the Sam Raimi and the Tobey, is there a possibility that they might try to retcon Spider-Man 3?
They might. It would be, here's the thing. Here is something that, as we were talking, here's what I think they could do. If you focus this around Alfred Molina being the big bad, here's what you could do. You could have Doc Ock show up, and he have gotten sucked in by the power. He goes in, and he realizes, I'm in a different, universe. Then he finds out my wife's dead. Dead in this one already. And then his motivation could be, I just want to get... It's like, what if I jumped to another universe? To then just, he's going to try and go universe hopping to try and find his wife. Well, when he goes and does it again, instead of him going through, something else gets pulled through. And Electro gets pulled through during his big fight scene during Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then that's when he shows up. And then the good guys are here. You got Electro and you got Andrew Garfield, and why not bring in
One thing.
yeah. It's just going bring back in Emma Stone just because those were the two that was the best part about the Amazing Spider-Man stuff.
She gets whipped into this new universe right before her neck gets snapped.
Right, so she's still alive. So you take the best parts of the Amazing Spider-Man, and then you basically have the good guys go well, this is the technology, let's try and replicate it, and then they replicate it, and then boom, Tobey Maguire is here. And then that's how you get the good guys and the bad guys, boom, all in there, trying to figure everything else out.
But let me ask though, once again, now we've seen movie franchises retcon previous films. X-Men Days of Future Past retcon The Last Stand. You're right. Halloween 2018 basically said the other movies outside of the original don't exist. Even Jurassic World, the director has come out and said The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 don't exist. Jurassic World is the true sequel. And guess what? If you watch Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, they never mention the other island. Ever. And you're not, and in this coming out Jurassic World, yeah, they're bringing back Alan Grant, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, but they're not bringing back Julianne Moore from the second one. They're not bringing back anyone from the third one. So, and they're not mentioning the other island again. So, could it be possible that they might be retconning Spider-Man and saying, we're going to bring back Tobey Maguire, and your original Spider-Man 4 idea, Sam Raimi, if you want to add some elements from there, but we want to do a true sequel from the second one. And we can actually start the movie with MJ and Peter getting married and just go from there.
Yeah, I think the one thing is, the plot and the soap opera-ness of, Spider-Man 3 was really bad. It's my least favorite Spider-Man one because the soap opera-ness about the relationships and all that other stuff. And blah,
Venom.
So stupid.
And Venom.
Was terrible. My God. So terrible. I was I legitimately was, whenever I rewatch that movie, I always fast forward to that stuff. I don't care for the soap opera BS drama about some of that was in the original Spider-Man trilogy. I really don't like it. It's it's convoluted BS.
Okay,
I think the one thing of retconning some of that stuff out of it, I am completely 100% down for.
No, you would be okay with the true.
Yes, I would be completely 100% down for them retconning the crap out of the bad parts of the original Spider-Man stuff. And then retcon the fact that, Emma Stone died in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, bring everyone back, and then everyone's still alive. Perfect. A nice, happy ending. That's the one thing that I think a lot of films don't get right now is there's you want people to go home happy, and a lot of these times is we're not going home happy for a lot of this stuff. The last time that I left a movie theater, I was all happy, a very long time ago. I don't even think I left Endgame like going home happy.
Well, no, you don't end him going home happy.
So it's like, even though it was like, there's a lot of stuff to be happy about in Endgame, but it's just like,
well, the movie
I don't
doesn't
know.
end on a really happy note. Tony, I mean, you don't look
we all
at.
knew he was gonna die anyways.
Yeah, my point is, the movie's going to Infinity War. That doesn't end happy. But
It does if you're Thanos.
yeah, if you're Thanos,
Thanos is just going like, we can stop making movies now.
that is like
Next movie is just gonna be Thanos goes to Hollywood.
Thanos on the farm.
Yeah.
I you want them to make.
Thanos Farm Simulator.
I really want a short of that. Thanos on the farm. Put it on Disney Plus. Today, after wiping out half of the universe, I'm gonna plant my garden.
Yep. Today I'm gonna work on a scarecrow.
Today,
Day 13. The crows destroyed my scarecrow. It's not scary enough. Maybe I should have used my first snap on them. But it was just like, I going back on track, it's like,
brilliant.
I think having something that gives us a happy ending is something that we kind of need. Especially with the way the world is right now. It's just going like, anything that has like a sad and depressed ending should immediately go like, we're going to put that on the sidelines. Only happy endings.
Let me bring up real quick. We just talked about with Star Trek. Star Wars. It's not necessarily the name. It's the character. And people get excited about the character. In this case, I would say when people talk about this next Spider-Man film, most of the time, the only thing that people bring up is Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire. Are we going to see Tobey Maguire return? And whether you like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films or not, if you don't like at least the first two, there's something wrong with you. Sorry. To me, they're some of the best comic book films made still. But, once again, we go back to, in this case, people want the actor back. We're always going to see a Spider-Man with Tom Holland. But, like I said, all I've been hearing is Tobey Maguire. And Andrew Garfield to a little lesser extent. But Tobey Maguire is the bigger draw, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And to have Alfred Molina, to have a scene of Alfred Molina and Tobey Maguire again would get people really like, can we have another train sequence, please? I mean, and that's the thing that people want to see, like, give us another showdown.
And I think that's the one thing, if there's a reason why Tobey Maguire is the one that everyone's, like, clamoring for and talking about, is that the goodwill, I don't know how many times I have to say this, if you build up goodwill with the fans, you're gonna get more in the long run. The reason why certain characters and certain actors playing certain characters are so big is because of the goodwill that you get with fans. When you don't have that goodwill, i.e. Ray, you have bad things happen and you have bigger backlash and you have that if Lucasfilm came out and said, we're going to make another Ray film, everyone's going to go like, I don't give two flying monkeys.
True.
But it's just going like, Sony comes out and says, we're giving Tobey Maguire a new Spider-Man. Yay! Everyone's going to go ape shit.
We got that.
But it's just going like, so there's a difference in how you do things. If you, and the biggest thing is like, so people, we as filmmakers make stuff. It's there to be enjoyed. We want our fans to enjoy it. Why would you make something that shits on the people that you're trying to sell stuff to?
Well, once again, let me bring this up, and I'm not trying to be an asshole to Andrew Garfield here, but let's be honest. You hear Andrew Garfield might be returning. Some of you are like, okay. But you hear Tobey Maguire is returning.
Mm-hmm.
The level is a lot higher than for Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, and that's the one, and this is the microcosm of the giving the fans what they want and ingratiating the goodwill. The reason why Spider-Man 3, the original Spider-Man 3, is still thought of as, up there is because of the such good works that 1 and 2 did. So that way when you're watching 3, you had that goodwill going into it. It's like they had their goodwill with the fans had built up so much that with the disappointments with, how bad Venom was, how the crap was with the Green Goblin, the soap opera stuff and everything else,
Sandman.
is that, oh my gosh, is that you still had enough there to kind of still go. So that was a big part of it. And then the one problem is that I think the first Amazing Spider-Man was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that one.
It was good.
The second one I like, but they definitely screwed up a good bit. And then with the whole thing of them not not having A, not trying, or B, and B, not the extra stuff of them not doing a third one to try and rebound from that, and the way that they tried to cram too much into that stuff, and Matt's shaking like a tree in a hurricane right
If you
now.
ever heard the story for the third one, trust me, you don't want it.
Right, and that was the problem, is that they started to lose the good that they had in it. They weren't delivering on it.
You thought the second one was bad. Oh boy.
and you're looking at someone who didn't think that the second one was that bad.
The second one has its moments. But
The second one's like a C minus, in my opinion. The first one is, a B plus in the Amazing Spider-Man stuff. I would probably say, the original Spider-Man, the first one's an A, the second one's an A minus. So, mainly because of the soap opera stuff and that bank scene. I hate that bank scene in the second one. You cannot tell me that was a good scene. The fight scene of the bank thing is fine. But Aunt May wanting a freaking toaster. Oh my god, shoot me. Shoot me. That was like, oh my god, I can't believe we're doing this crap.
But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I would be down for another Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I personally would like, and I would be okay if they retconned the third one. I think if we got a true sequel that, like it can be set 10 years after the second one, MJ and Peter can be married already, and, they open that film with that scene and then jump a couple years later and go from there. It'll be, and they did do that, it would also be interesting. Well, where's James Franco? Where's Harry?
Who cares? Moving on. That's my answer for some of this stuff. It's just going like, what I would say is that
maybe they would live up the Bruce Campbell scene.
What I would say is that you just bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and maybe Gwen and MJ, maybe, but that's it. You don't bring anyone else in. You bring them into. You don't even ever show the other universes. Maybe other than how they were pulled into the Tom Holland space. I think that you don't even worry about any of that stuff. You don't, and then you just go like, if you bring Tobey Maguire over and you don't bring MJ over, and it's just going like, then just have him like pull out his wallet and just go like hold up a photo of them on their wedding day or something, and just going like that. It's going like, you can tell the story differently and not have to worry about explaining every single little detail about stuff. And I think that's the more important stuff. It's just going like, what we want is for all three Spider-Men on the screen at the same time, all pointing at each other, just like the meme. That's what people want. We want the meme to come to life. So, I think do that. And then, if you give the people what they want and don't overdo the crap that people don't care about, you're going to get a better response, and B, it's going to help streamline stuff. Because in the end of all of this stuff, as much as we would like to see, Tobey Maguire get his next one, to see Andrew Garfield kind of get redeemed, because he's an amazing actor, and kind of get redemption for the crap that he went through with that. In the end, it's Tom Holland's movie. So, in the end, it should end with the other two Spider-Man
Going back in their universe.
getting the heck away. However, going home, and Tom Holland being Tom Holland.
Well, let me bring up really, really quickly. Now, after the Spider-Man film, this is the end of Tom Holland's contract. So, as of after December, Tom Holland is not contracted for any more Marvel movies as Spider-Man. So, once again, that's why I bring up, could there be a possibility that we do see a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film, meaning that the next step forward for Sony's Spider-Man universe, and not another Tom Holland Spider-Man film?
Nah, they just made that deal with Netflix. They'll re-sign Tom Holland in a heartbeat.
Yes, they did make that deal with Netflix. But what if part of that deal was, we will pay you anything for a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film?
Yeah.
Yes.
You just really want that film, don't you?
Now that is,
you really want that film.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Now that, that's a great point. Netflix and Sony made an agreement. And part of that agreement does deal with their Spider-Man universe. There is no reason to not doubt that they could have said, we are interested in a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film.
Yeah, I mean, here, it's kind of up in the air. It all kind of really depends on how much we,
and by the way,
MCU and the deal between Sony and Marvel is for them to be a part.
Once again, the deal ends in December. Marvel and Sony, no more. As Spider-Man, no more. Marvel and Sony, as of December, no more.
Yeah.
And right now, we know the only deal that Sony has contracted is now with Netflix. So,
yeah, I mean, if Sony and Marvel don't get back on the same page and stuff, I could see them trying to revert to a different Spider-Man. Because then, if the Sony and Marvel deal falls flat, if I was Marvel and I wanted to be super spiteful, I would do something like Brooklyn getting blown up. Like Watchmen style. Like Brooklyn gets utterly leveled. Just so that way when the next Spider-Man movie is made, people go like, wait a minute, what happened? Brooklyn got leveled in the last Marvel movie. Because that's the problem. They tied this to the MCU. They tied Tom Holland to the MCU. So they're expecting some sort of bleed through and crossover in between what's happening in the MCU and in the Spider-Man movies.
Don't forget, we still got Venom movie coming, Morbius, and those will be on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
So, and we don't know where those universes are. We don't know where the Morbius world is and the Venom. That could be in the Tobey Maguire universe for all we know, or in the Andrew Garfield.
I think the one thing that's going to be a challenge is that if Sony basically says, nah, I think we're good and we're going to dissect ourselves from the MCU, they're going to need some giant magical sciencey explosion to happen and then have the revelation of, oh, we're in a new universe now and the Avengers don't exist, but Freaky Vampire Man does.
There is one possibility. There is one more possibility. By the end of No Way Home, Tom Holland's Spider-Man goes into another universe that is separate from the Marvel universe. Yeah. That could be their way of saying, okay, we can split the ties of Marvel. He's in another universe. We don't even have to say what universe for now. We can keep that on in our pocket. And we're going to move forward with Netflix. And because of the fans' reaction and the critical praise for Tobey Maguire returning, we're going to make another Spider-Man with Tobey. Because that's what the fans want.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that they could do. The biggest thing is that what they're going to have to do is that if Marvel and Sony do disconnect from each other, is that Sony needs to just write a very simplistic storyline about how the universes disconnect from each other.
Now, let me just bring up one more point. I like the Tom Holland universe, but I have felt like it's still not Spider-Man. We haven't really lived in Spider-Man's world.
No, you've lived in Spider-Man living in the Avengers world.
And I think that has
because
been...
every single Spider-Man film has touched the Avengers.
Yeah, you had Tony in the first one, you had Nick Fury in the second, and Happy Hogan in the second one.
The entire thing of the second one was Spider-Man moping around because Tony was dead.
And third one, you're having Doctor Strange in there. So, and who knows, and Happy's going to show up again.
Mm-hmm.
So, we really, and he hasn't worked for the Daily Planet. This MJ isn't really the true MJ. We haven't had really anybody else. No Gwen, no Harry yet, no Jane. We saw J. Jonah Jameson in the post-credit scene for 1 minute. So we haven't lived in the Spider-Man world of like the Tobey Maguire. Heck, even the Andrew Garfield had Spider-Man the world. So that could also be like we want to get back to the Spider-Man world and leave the Avengers world for you guys.
Yeah, that's always like the one thing about where you have the questions of whatever it is. Like whenever in the comics, you'll always have that thing of like, I'm gonna pull a DC thing. It's like when Batman's having trouble with the Joker, why he doesn't just call over and just like, yo, Clark from across the river, why don't you fly your ass over here and help me out? It's just going like when you have such an interconnected universe, the singular storylines kind of get thrown to the wayside because you would say, well, why doesn't this character just call for help from this character and all that stuff? So, the tagline from this one is No Way Home. So it could be No Way Home in multiple ways. No Way Home for whoever.
Yeah, No Way Home for
like
Tobey.
Maybe let's think about it this way. What if Marvel and Sony have a deal? They say you have to give us a Spider-Man, but you can bring your own Spider-Man in. So Sony gets their Tobey Maguire, Marvel gets their Tom Holland, and they dissect it that way.
Okay.
Or whatever, the No Way Home could be at the very end, something happens and Tom Holland gets sucked into a new universe, and that's where Venom is, and that's where Morbius is, and that's where all the other stuff is.
And that's Tobey Maguire's universe.
Yeah.
Or Andrew Garfield's universe.
Right. Or its own new universe. And so that's how they dissect the stuff from the Avengers. And the like. So there's that. I think I understand as a studio what Sony's doing. I do not understand it in terms of storytelling. Because right now, they're more successful the better they can tie themselves to Marvel. Because they're in a good spot where they can cherry pick. They can cherry pick the good stuff from Marvel. Nick Fury, Tony Stark, Doctor Strange. They can cherry pick the good stuff from that and kind of push away the bad stuff and just move on with that. So I think that's kind of how I think it should be. It's like it's the best of both worlds for them right now. They can cherry pick the good from the Marvel, but also be mostly kind of by themselves. When they dissect themselves further from that, you're building yourself only off of you. And you're not having any help. So, if you're confident that you can, once again, not screw it up, okay. But, let's think about it. Your last attempt at this was a screw up. So, it's a toss up.
Yeah, and the movie goes on in basically less than 8 months now. So I'm sure sooner or later we're going to get our first teaser trailer, maybe by the summer, with Black Widow. And that might, give us a better idea of, maybe we'll see Tobey Maguire. We'll probably see Doc Ock. Probably see Electro in the trailer. We'll get an idea of how they look and what their storyline might be. And we'll see if we see other Spider-Man in the trailer. And that might give us an idea of where this could be headed. So for now, that's it for today. We'll keep you posted in the future. Adios.
And always remember to like, comment, subscribe wherever you are. The podcast is available wherever you want to get your podcast. If we are not there, let us know, and we will get there. Remember to like our Facebook page, Attack Bat Productions. Thanks for listening, everyone.